Hello and welcome to my channel, Distinctive Crochet. Today we will be learning how to crochet with 5 easy steps. Step 1, we will be learning how to connect our yarn to our hook with a slip knot. Step 2, we will be learning how to hold our yarn and hook. Step 3, we will be learning how to crochet a chain. Step 4, we will be learning how to identify the front and back of the chain. And step 5, we will be learning how to do a single crochet. So come on with me and let's get started. I'm just going to pause and then I will change my camera view so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. So the materials we will be using today are some worsted weight yarn in the number 4. And if you're not sure if you have that available or not, you just need to look at your yarn label and it will have the number 4 right there. This brand happens to be Impeccable by Loops and Thread. You can pick that up at Michael's craft stores. We will also need a letter J hook. I like this hook size because it's not too big and not too small. It's really good size for beginners and it works well with this yarn. We will also need a pair of scissors and a measuring tape and a yarn needle. I'm just going to move these to the side and then we can get started with step 1. So what we need to do is just pull out a little bit of our yarn and then we will make a slip knot. To make a slip knot, you can just hold the hook in your hand, lay it over the needle, making sure that you have a nice size length tail, about 4 to 6 inches. You can just estimate, you don't have to measure it. And then you just want to cross over like that. And I'll do that one more time. So you want to lay the tail over the hook so it's at the back. And then you want to cross it over the front. And then you're just going to take your thumb and your middle finger and bring that tail over. And then you're going to pinch that little cross that you made using your other hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm holding the hook with my right hand and I'm holding the yarn knot with my left. And then so now you want to go ahead and use your hook to grab that yarn and pull it through. And then you're just going to tug down on that yarn tail, and then you have a slip knot. Okay? And then you can just pull the yarn coming from the ball of yarn just to tighten it down. Okay? And so now we want to talk about holding our yarn and hook for step 2. So I just held mine like this, which is called overhand or the knife hold. Another way crocheters are comfortable holding their hook is like a pencil. So the best way to find out what you like is to try both ways. For the remainder of the video, I will continue to crochet with the knife hold. So now that we know how to hold our hook, the next thing we need to do is how to hold our yarn. So when you're crocheting, you need to have what's called tension and making sure the yarn isn't too loose. Otherwise, your stitches will be loose. So to get tension, I like to scoop up the yarn with my index finger of my left hand and then pull my hand back so that it's nice and tight. It's not too loose, but it isn't too tight either. And then with my middle finger and my thumb, I pinch that knot that's connected to the hook. So I'll show you that one more time. So I just scoop up the yarn with my index finger and then pinch with my middle and thumb. And then you can try to crochet like this. If it doesn't seem tight enough or the yarn is getting away from you, you can also try it this way. So instead of just using your index finger only, you can scoop up the yarn with your pinky finger and then let it rest under your hand, and then go ahead and scoop up with your index finger and then pinch. And having it wrapped around those fingers, give it a little bit extra tension so your stitches aren't too loose. So I recommend trying it both ways because new crocheters are either a little bit too tight or a little bit too loose. So you always have time to practice and try both ways. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is step 3, how to chain. So what you want to do is, just like we made our slip knot, is you're going to bring your hook down and around to grab that yarn, and you're going to pull through the loop of your slip knot. And that's how you make a chain. It's very simple. So you're just going to keep going, and you want to make 21 chains. So there's 2, 3, 4, and you want to move your hands up as you make more chain so that you can keep your tension. 5, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so now that we have all of our chain, we want to go ahead and do step 4, which is how to identify the front and back of our chain. So right when I stopped, this side is facing, and this is the front of our chain. And as you can see, it almost looks like it's a V-stitch. I'm just going to use my yarn needle here to show you. So you have this strand going here, and then this strand going here, and it makes like a V. So that is how you can recognize the front of your chain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over now and show you what the back looks like. So on the back, you just have this bump right here. And I'll lift that up with my needle. So you have this bump here. And then I'll flip over and show you the front again. So there's the V, and then here we have the back bump. So what we're going to do is, when we begin to do our single crochet, is we're going to identify that back bump, and that's where we will insert our crochet hook so that we can begin our stitches. So now we are on step 5, how to single crochet. So as you can see here, we have this loop on our hook. Now, for crocheting, we always have to have this one loop on our hook so that we can connect one stitch to the next. So this loop does not count as a stitch or a chain. So what we need to do is count one chain from the hook, and then we will crochet in that back bump of that chain. So here is my first chain from the hook, and here is my second chain. So we're going to skip this chain here, and we're going to go right into this second chain for our single crochet. So we want to insert our hook into that bump, and then we're going to do what's called a yarn over, which is simply just grabbing that yarn with your hook. You're going to pull through that bump, and now you have 2 loops on your hook. To complete the single crochet, you will need to yarn over again and pull through both loops. And now you have completed 1 single crochet. We're going to follow the same steps across the chain. However, this time, since we're already started, we just need to go into each back bump. We won't be skipping any. So here's the very next one. We're going to go into it and then yarn over and pull up that loop. We will yarn over and pull through 2. So we're going to go into the very next one, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Sometimes it's easy to say the steps as you go, so it will help you to remember. So insert your hook into that bump, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And we're going to keep following those same steps all the way down the chain. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. So I'm just going to continue on down the chain. If you need to pause or rewind the video, please feel free to do so. I'm just going to show you one more, and then I will pause and I'll meet you back when I finished going down the chain. So insert, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And I'll be right back. Okay everyone, so I've made it back to the end of my row, and I am doing my last single crochet. So it's right before that slip knot that we made here. I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And we have made a row of single crochet. Okay, so for good practice, what I would like you to do is I would like you to keep going in this manner until you get to 4 inches tall. That will give you plenty of practice with single crochets. So I'm going to show you how you do the next row. All you need to do is you're going to make a chain just like we did before. So all you need to do is grab the yarn with your hook and pull through the loop, and you have made a chain. Now we're going to turn our work, and we will single crochet into the stitches we just made. So in order to find out where you need to put your hook, you can tilt it toward you like that. And remember those V's I showed you? Just like on the chain, we have them right here on our stitches. And this is the top of our single crochet stitch. So what we want to do is we want to go right into the very first stitch here. And we're going to go ahead and single crochet from there. So it's right there on that stitch. Here's your hook where you made your chain, and you're going to go right in the very first stitch. You put your hook in, you yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. So you want to do this for each stitch. So yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And you want to go all the way down the chain. You should down the row. You should have 20 stitches. So you go right into the top of that stitch, and you can look right on your hook and you'll see that V right there on your hook. Remember, this doesn't count as a stitch. It just connects one stitch to the next. So there's your V there. So you want to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And you want to keep going all the way down until you get to the very end. And then I will show you what to do next. I'm just going to keep going all the way down. Feel free to pause or rewind if you need to see something again. Okay, and I'm coming up on my last stitch. So I just want to go into that last stitch, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And now we're ready to do our next row. So I'm going to chain up 1, just like we did before, and turn. And so this is what we have so far with our 2 rows. And then you're going to go right into the top of that stitch, making sure you see the V. And then you yarn over, pull up that loop, and yarn over and pull through 2. And you continue in this manner until you have something that measures 4 inches. So I'm going to pause the video here, and I will come back and show you when I have reached 4 inches. Okay, and I'm back, and I'm just finishing up with this last stitch here. I think I'm about at 4 inches. So I'm just going to pull up on this loop here with my hook to ensure that my stitches don't come apart. And another thing you can do is when you're finished crocheting, you can secure this with another piece of yarn that you're, like a scrap yarn or a paper clip. I think I have a paper clip right here. Let's see. Yes, I do. They have things called stitch markers, but if you don't have any, you can just simply take your paper clip and close it up like that. And that way, if you put this aside, then your stitches won't come out. I think that first one did, but the rest of them will not come out. And that's how you can secure your project there. So I'm going to go ahead and measure it and make sure that we have 4 inches. And there we do have 4 inches. So we're going to stop there. And for this tutorial, we're actually finished. And this is what your fabric should look like. So what you can do with this here is secure your stitches so that it doesn't come out. And save this because I'm going to continue with beginner stitches, and we will be learning the half double crochet and double crochet, and we can just keep adding on to this here, and when we're finished we'll probably have something long enough to make a scarf. So either you can do that, or you can just cut it here and sew in your ends, and this could be a gauge swatch for you for a single crochet. A gauge swatch is simply just telling you how many stitches per inch. And so a way that you can count your stitches is if you notice there's the little spaces in between, or if you're right on top, you can just count the V's. And so there we should have 20 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and that last one came out, which was 20. So there we have that. And then we could just go ahead and measure, and then we can say that we have 20 stitches for 6 inches. So if we wanted to make something a little bit wider, we would know that we would need maybe 40 inches would give us, 40 stitches would give us 12 inches if we wanted to make a wider scarf or something like that. That's just helpful information when you're working on a project. So that's what a gauge swatch is. And then you will also measure your rows. And the rows are a little bit different. So right here is where we did our chain and our first row of single crochet. So that's 1. And then this row here is 2. And then there's this little twist in the middle, so that separates the next row. So actually where these dips are, that's actually 2 rows there. So this is our first row, that's 1, and then we have these 2 here, so that's 3. And then we could just count by 2s into the next dip if we wanted. So that would be 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and then 15. So it took me 15 rows to get to 4 inches. So that might not be the same for everybody because our tension is different, which is how you hold your yarn and how you're making your stitches. So it could be a little bit longer, maybe 4¼ inch or something like that, or maybe you crochet a little bit tighter, so maybe just a little less than 4 inches for 15 rows. But for this tutorial, we have finished our project. So if you would like to continue on with me and possibly make a scarf out of this, save your project and check out my next video, which I will be teaching you how to do the half double crochet. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.